Daily stock market update on the 29th of December after US market open. Well, Europe, as you can expect, is really thin. It's holiday trading, so you can expect a quiet week, which is a good thing because if we can close the year out near all-time highs, we're happy. There really isn't macroeconomic data. Politics, nobody cares about Ukraine, Russia as far as the stock market's concerned. You might think it would be relevant for defense stocks. No, it's relevant in that there's greater public spending by governments, which should create more jobs, which is generally beneficial to the broader economy. So in that regard, greater spending is going to be a positive factor for both the UK and European markets. The FTSE 100 was a tiny bit lower. That's just noise. Speaking of which, it was defense stocks because the idea is, well, if there is going to be peace, and there won't be in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, then surely defense stocks will come off. Ignore the noise. If you're going to try and go by every single element, that'd be ridiculous, which is another reason why stocks should be selected. Whether it's Babcock, Chemring, BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce, should be selected on their fundamental valuations over the longer term, rather than trying to gamble like a bettor in Ladbrokes on what the next statement might be from Mar-a-Lago. Okay, FTSE 250 also slightly lower. Again, there's just no news, which is fine. When I first set up the hedge fund in 2004, we couldn't even invest as a small hedge fund in FTSE 250 companies because there just wasn't enough liquidity. In other words, there just isn't enough people buying and selling. And the danger would be if we put a sell order in, we wouldn't even be able to get out. So certainly not going to be putting my pension stocks in there. What I will put them into, I'll come to in just a second. Metal miners were doing a little bit better. That's largely to do with copper. It's now $13,000 a ton on the London Metal Exchange. Incidentally, one of the most profitable exchanges in the world, and it's British. And there is some concern that with copper miners, that basically there'll be some disruption or stockpiling because there's potential US import tariffs, and so there's some hoarding going on with the metal. Normally, copper is an advance indicator of global growth, and global growth next year is expected to be around the 2.5, 2.7% GDP growth worldwide, which is good for the stock market. But on this instance, copper is not just reflecting that, it's actually reflecting some short-term hoarding, as I say, just in case there's some on-off tariffs. Analysts caution that prices may well run ahead of demand, obviously, because it's hoarding. And there is concern that China and some fabricators are cutting production. That is not a reflection of Chinese GDP growth problems. It is just how they manage demand. If we turn to, before we go to US equities, let's turn to commodities for a second, and then we'll look at Bloomberg and CNBC Newswires. Silver is taking a bit of a dive. It touched $84 an ounce. That was speculation, particularly China. Now, it's the Chinese who've been buying up gold as a buffer against the US dollar, and that being a fallback currency for the rest of the world. But the Chinese have been buying gold because they see the rest of the world buying gold as some form of security, but they've now turned towards silver by the looks of it. However, it's pulled back a bit. I'm getting more emails about silver, which worries me because it means that people are getting a bit crazy on the speculation side of it. I've got no interest on it other than, if anything, I'll look at the short side of it. Gold is a bit lower, down 2%. It's roughly up 70% for the year. Incredible. If you're in late, the only trade you'd be looking to do is the short trade on it. But the volatility is going a bit nuts. It looks like some traders are having a lot of fun by the end of the year on gold, silver, and copper. Copper is at all-time highs. It's up 40% this year, and that's 10% in December alone. That's pretty incredible. And again, I'm not exposed to copper. If I was looking at an exchange-traded fund which had a basket of hard commodities or metals, and of course then copper would be in there, and so would gold, it would have to be for a longer period of time as a diversifier, and mainly only about 5% of my overall portfolio. It's not something I'm looking to trade, because if I'm trading, that's separate. and that's a whole different kettle of fish. Oil, it's at $58, well below the $80, which would make me worried about it impacting the stock market. And Bitcoin is hovering around $90,000, so nothing to see. If it gets to about $50,000, then I might buy some more. But it's at that sort of gray space of nothingness. It's neither rallying above 100, 120, and neither is it falling. So it is causing boredom, which is good for stockbrokers or spread betting companies because they know people trade out of boredom and get wrong-footed usually as well. In terms of the US markets, as you'd expect, quiet but down, not even 0.5% on the S&P. No news. I guess people are just going to call it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just going to call it end of the year and leave it at that by the looks of it, but they're certainly not looking to dive anything. Weakness is mainly Tesla, Nvidia, and the so-called Magnificent Seven. That is off the back of sector rotation, noise, in other words, do nothing, as more money goes into a broader market. Well, who's doing all the spending? Who's getting all the profits? It's actually the Magnificent Seven. So clearly people are cleaning their books for the end of the year, booking their profits, making sure that their bonuses are locked in, but there isn't some fundamental reason to exit those stocks. Alphabet was up over 60%. Microsoft only 6% over the past 12 months, which suggests that they don't all move in tandem anyway, and to give them a combined name seems a little bit ridiculous in any event. There isn't much happening in terms of corporate headlines or even macroeconomic news. Fed Reserve minutes are due on Tuesday and give some indication as to whether or not they're likely to reduce or continue reducing interest rates in the new year. That's the critical factor you've got to look at. One, are interest rates likely to continue being cut in the new year? That's the best case. The medium case or base case is they're not going to be cut any further, but they won't rise yet. And the bear case is they're going to probably start tightening. Now, I think we're at the best or bull or base case. We're not at the bear case at the moment, and that's good news. The S&P 500, pretty much near all-time high, 6,944, and light trading. The danger with light trading, where there aren't many orders going through, is somebody's algorithm somewhere causes a massive dip on New Year's Eve. Don't panic if that happens. Okay, they say the support zone is about 6,850. It depends what time frame you're looking at, and it's clearly still in very much an upward trend for now. It's looking almost identical to how it looked in 2022 when it was at these levels. And if you go back to 2022, we had a pretty horrendous year come ahead starting in January 2022 for the whole of the year. I'm not saying we're going to get a repeat of that, but what I'm saying is, unlike everyone else, I don't have full throttle optimism. I am not being complacent either on this. If we look at the headlines out of CNBC, then what I can see out of that is we've got, well, Europe largely positive. Wharton's Jeremy Siegel thinks the market's gain next year will be much more modest. There'll be a gain. Fantastic. Great. I mean, another year of the market rising is exceptional, 4 consecutive years. Okay, so it's a good background against which to be holding the stocks that I hold. Nvidia has taken a $5 billion stake in Intel under the agreement it had back in September. Intel's been a real turnaround. It's been quite a volatile company historically. Intel haven't created enough profits and positive cash flow and revenue growth for me to have it all ticked on my box. We go through 10,000 securities looking for value, growth, income, cash flow, and those things from the company's P&L balance sheet. And as things stand at the moment, whilst it is quite a turnaround, that's still speculative, given that we've got so many other things that we could be looking at in any event, other stocks which are more consistent. So a little bit too exciting for me, let's put it that way, Intel, but solid company. In terms of some of the most popular stocks people like to talk about, Devon Energy up 2%, and AppLovin down 3%. Noise, again, yeah, I'm going to say noise because there's nothing specific coming out which would make me either euphoric or turn things around. But like I said, when we look at valuation, growth, income, those kind of more solid factors, which you should look at over the longer period of time, then even the likes of Intel don't make the cut for us. What we're seeing in terms of a macroeconomic background is GDP growth across the world, interest rates broadly in most countries stable to lower. All of that's positive news, and oil prices not impacting the stock market. So overall, going into this final week of the year, the final few days of the year, I'm happy with how things stand and how my portfolio stands, but I'm certainly not going to be chasing headlines and going for sector rotation. So be careful of headlines trying to panic you or trying to get you to move your money, because every time you move your money or get panicked, brokers make money, which is why they want you to do it. One final request I always make, if you've got this far with the video, thank you very much. If you'd like me to continue doing free videos, free webinars, free lives, please just share it, because it goes to more people. If it goes to more people, then I know to continue doing it. So if you share it, you comment, the algorithms on YouTube and TikTok pick that up and they say, oh, there's some engagement. Somebody watched this and somebody reposted it. They sent it to someone. They commented. All of those things take you a microsecond. And if you do them, the algorithm then sends the video to more people. If it goes to more people, I know to continue doing these for free. So please do that. Also, have a look at campaignforamillion.com. Fantastic new tools which are on there. We've updated some of them. I'm going to be updating more of them during the course of today. So if you go to the tools section of that, you're going to find some brilliant free tools there as well. Got some more interesting videos coming up on my YouTube and TikTok channels. You'll find the links to all of those and everything else I do on campaignforamillion.com. Thank you all very much.